Do you want to know how to learn anything faster? How to read a text and finally feel as if you're committing it to memory rather than forgetting it in the next day? Keep watching. What is up, YouTube? My name is Aidan Helfant. I am a freshman Cornell University student who makes videos on life advice as well as learning and fitness. Today we're going to be talking about my 3 biggest tips for learning anything faster. One of my greatest passions is learning about how we learn. It's truly ridiculous to me how we're never taught this in school. You would think before we spend years of our life learning things, we would learn how to learn in the first place, right? Wrong. That is why I'm here to help you learn how to learn with 3 tips that, while not easy, will help you out in your learning pursuits. My first tip is to test yourself more. This is a concept that I first learned in Make It Stick by Peter C. Brown. Most of us believe that tests are the end product of our studying and learning. We go through a course to take a massive midterm and final. Sadly, this is not working in tandem with how our brain learns effectively. Testing is one of the best ways that we can retain information in the long run. This is because learning through effort is a lot better than learning passively. Most students I know believe that studying effectively comes down to passively rereading and highlighting the same section or text of our notes repeatedly. While this learning style, if you can even call it that, allows for retention of information for the short term, all of the material is soon forgotten. So what's the fix? Test yourself more. Instead of reading over texts or notes to study or learn something new outside of school, make questions for yourself. Print practice tests on the units you're studying and work through the chapter questions at the end of the reading. Testing yourself works even better if you utilize the Cornell note-taking system. The Cornell note-taking system works by taking notes on the essential material and concepts during class. After your class, you turn these notes into various questions and then test yourselves on them over an extended period. This is great because not only are we testing ourselves, but we have the questions and answers outlined in our own words. Another technique to boost comprehension. This type of learning requires much more effort and is genuinely a lot better for long-term understanding. Testing is not something that you only have to do when the big test comes up. My second tip is to use the Feynman Technique. The Feynman Technique comes from a famous professor known as Richard Feynman. He is renowned for saying that the only way he knew if he understood something is if he could give an introductory lecture on it. This is revolutionary. The Feynman Technique works off of the fact that teaching is in itself a form of learning. Whenever you teach, it requires that you have enough of a grasp on the information to explain it to others in words they can understand. There are a few steps to the Feynman Technique. Find out what it is you want to teach. Explain it in your own words in the most easy to understand and straightforward way possible. A 5-year-old should be able to understand you. Go back to whatever resource you're trying to teach and fill in any gaps in your understanding. Repeat until you've taught it effectively. I've used this method many times to further my own learning goals. Whenever I go on bike rides with my mom or hang out with some of my friends, I'll sometimes talk about the most recent book I'm reading. Not only does this spark my learning on the subject, but it also sparks interest and passion in the person I'm teaching. It works wonders for both parties. I urge you, if you have never tried this technique before, to give it a shot. You will see how much faster you learn new material when you do. My third tip is to use the forgetting curve to your advantage with spaced repetition. For those of you who don't know what the forgetting curve is, it is a curve that outlines our tendency to forget new information. The forgetting curve states that we forget most of the new information we learn in the first 24 hours. The exciting thing, however, is what occurs when we learn that thing again through active recall. Every time we learn something over again, say through testing ourselves or teaching it to others, it prolongs the time it takes to forget. Generally, forgetting takes 24 hours, then 3 days, then a week, then a couple of weeks, and finally, it can get into our long-term memory, a space in which only occasional recall is necessary. So what should you do with this information? It means you should try and space out your learning for Christ's sake. Gone are the days of cramming for exams in a desperate all-nighter. Gone are the days of reading a book for 3 days and never picking it up or engaging with it again. All of these types of learning are practically useless in the long run. You need to realize that our brain forgets things over time. This is normal and good. In fact, if our brain remembered everything, it would be awful trying to understand what was going on around us. So try and engage with material over the long term. For example, if you're studying for a test in college, try studying for 2 weeks instead of just 1 day. Not only will this help you on the test, but you will also remember the material better in the long run, which will help you for the inevitable final as well. Learning is one of the most exciting and practical parts of being human. It's insane to me that teaching kids how to learn is not mandatory. If you take even one of the tips in this video into account, I guarantee you that you will learn things much faster and better than before. All right, guys and gals, that is gonna wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out my other content on the channel, as well as my blogging website, which hosts a plethora of other things as well. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day, and bye-bye.